All right, guys, I've got a bit of a demonstration here for you right now to show you how exactly Locus Mines works with Power Siphon, because it's a bit tricky to get the hang of, especially if you've never played with Locus Mines before. So Locus Mines basically just turns a attack into 3 attacks, and it spreads them out in an arc, and then it focuses the projectiles from the attacks. This is important for Power Siphon specifically on the enemy. Do not read it when it says that it focuses them on you. Power Siphon has this special interaction with enemies where the projectile will always autofocus to the enemy. And one of the reasons why Locus Mines are not that freaking weird to use with Power Siphon, because some people have been asking me about that. Why does Power Siphon lock on? It's a special interaction with Power Siphon. Power Siphon likes to focus on enemies. So even though Locus Mines normally sends projectiles back towards you, Power Siphon says, nope, I'm going to target the enemy. So we throw, so that's enough about the interaction there. So how exactly, now the boss is dead, how do we use this ability? When you throw any skill that's linked with Locus Mines, it's going to arc out. The mines are going to spread out. They're going to fan out, is how I say it. Not in a random direction either. It's going to be in an arc. And the arc is going to be concave in towards you. What does concave mean? Do we remember when we were in 6th or 7th grade or whenever that was? Concave means that it's going to be a rounded cone towards you, right? That's how they're gonna spread out. They're gonna spread out in a cone direction towards you, and the cone is gonna get wider the further out the mines go. You can actually see this. You can see it kind of well, actually, even though it's in the dark, because the mines, I don't have any like MTX for my mines, so you can see my mines up here that fire from when I'm throwing mines here. You can see the one mine does land there, another mine lands here, another mine lands off screen down here. That's them arcing out, right? And the trick with this is Locus Mines, they're supposed to do this. They're supposed to support projectile skills and fan out mines so the projectiles all spread back to you. That's the conceptual idea behind, like, Locus Mine potentially could give you a huge damage boost, throws 2 extra mines, but you got to make the whole arcing projectiles firing back towards you. You got to make that awkward playstyle work. Well, we don't have to worry about that. We're playing Power Siphon. All we have to worry about is hitting the sweet spot to make sure that all 3 of the mines proc on the same enemy that we want to hit with them. That is called the Locus Mine sweet spot for a Power Siphon, and it's very important we hit this. So let's go find another boss, because it's not doing us very good to talk about it conceptually without actually showing you guys. I'm a very firm believer in the art of seeing, because the showmanship, the real show for this is like how small the target can be, and how you have a somewhat generous window, but only if you're aware of the enemy's positioning. If you're not aware of the enemy's positioning, then you can't really name lock them, and you're gonna have a hard time getting all 3 of the mines to fire at them properly. It's really important that we get all of our mines to fire properly at the enemy. With respect to our damage, it's the difference between doing all of your damage and like a third of your damage. It's super important. I mean, it's the entire reason we go mines is to have this interaction where we can effectively triple our damage kind of for free, because all of them can be going out at the same time. So now let's do the Veritania. I want to just demonstrate, like, the main issue you'll have with this playstyle is making sure that you are far away from enough from your mines, because if I fire my mines all the way over here, they still connected with Veritania all the way over here. Look at that. That one's not firing. So, you know, that's a good like 8 meters. And I actually have to wonder if that was a me thing. That was probably not a me thing. This one's not firing because it's too close to me, and then it just died to Veritania. I fire them all the way back here. This one just fired. This one did not. Probably a distance thing. Right, this one fired. It's not even too close to me there. It really is a playstyle thing. This is not that awkward. You'll get used to it. The main issue that you're probably having if the playstyle is awkward, it has more to do with you being too close to your mines. The playstyle of this style of play, you get to play a ranged playstyle. We are not a shotgun melee, like abuse range skills, but at basically melee range to shotgun our projectiles. We're not doing that. We can eventually do that. We can pick up a Nimbus, and that will double our damage again. And Nimbus is really fun for this build, by the way. It's the tier 16 song. Oh shit, I didn't even roll it. So I did some configuring around, and basically just on a 4-link, you can hit 5 million DPS with nothing but the baseline items that I consider core for the build. I think you'd be at something around 4 million without the replica High Resire. That being said, this is with a Crown of Eyes that has a +1 max power charge. Let's remove that, because that's obviously giving us quite a lot. So with a +1 power charge Crown of Eyes, you're getting about 20 million extra DPS. Yeah, okay, so sucks. A +1 power charge Crown of Eyes, which is absolutely not accessible early on in the league, is going to probably break the bank on this build, but also be a pretty big barrier of entry to at least 20% of your TPS. Checks out though. Power charges are incredibly relevant to a power charge stacker. It's one of the 2 core pieces after all to what we're stacking in this build to get good dams. I think I just rushed the boss. I'm gonna drop a portal. I'm out of portal scrolls. No. I'm configuring around, and basically just the bare bones pieces that I think you need to get this build up and off the ground and reliably clearing tier 16s is gonna look something like this. Yes, I do have mostly uniques equipped. Yes, I also don't have an amulet ring to either rings, belt, or any flasks enabled. Like I said, I just want to get the bare bones pieces of the build assembled to see how much we need in gear to get a couple million DPS, because realistically the campaign and most of the end game with just a couple million DPS you should be able to clear most of it. So we are looking at a 4-link. We've got the Val Power Siphon with the absolute necessity links that I would consider to be good for the build. I don't know how I feel about Trap Mine. It's probably the highest damage rated. No, it's not even. Can we get this to not, you can get this to sort by non-awakened gems. We could just do show support gems, show non-awakened, or super early league start. You know, let's get a realistic understanding of how we can increase our damage. I guess flat is going to be good here, and probably because we don't have a crafted wand to get a bunch of flat, so our sources of flat are lacking. So yeah, just on a 4-link you'll be looking at something like this. I don't think you'll be going CI that early on in your endgame adventures. You'll probably be doing something hybrid, which also probably means you'll probably be speccing into things over here, and we should probably unspec some nodes, right? Because like realistically speaking, you're not gonna be level 99 on day 1. You'll be level 70 if that. This looks a little bit better. We're level 88. I don't think you'll int stack until you get the wand crafted, so we'll just get rid of the int nodes and call that a day. You might not even reach all the way over here until later on. This might be like one of those just annoying overcharge until you can respec the tree further. That's what I did. Yeah, I'd probably be looking at a tree like this, maybe even one like this, and then use the extra points to like path down here and satiate my dex requirements before I get like Eyes the Great Wolf and my dex, my attribute stacking gear assembled. You will struggle with dex for sure, and that is something that you don't solve too easily until you get some deck stacking gear, because this build just leverages a lot of uniques. You're going to be using Relicash for sure. Like, I'm just going over the core pieces that you'll never change, right? You'll never change off a unique belt. You'll either be using Graveyard Secret or Mage Blood or another unique belt. I don't think you're going to be crafting a rare. I think the rings are going to be the only like mandatory rare slot, because eventually you absolutely will want a +1 power charge crafted ring with int like this. This is absolutely my most expensive piece, and I dare say part of the reason I can justify playing this build and getting as much damn dams as we're getting with it is I just have basically 2 +1 power charge rings on my character, which you do not probably have. I also have this crafted wand. Okay, so I would consider the crafted wand to be the like first step in making the intelligence stacking jump. I popped out this wand, and this wand with a tree that, well, basically this tree is something to the tune of like 20 to 30% my DPS. And then the more you invest in intelligence, it obviously that snowballs on itself. So I wouldn't even bother going the int stacking route until you have a good wand like this crafted, which means I dare say first big project of the build. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because when you go the int stacking route, you will likely be swapping out of your Badge of the Brotherhood setup. So that means you'll want to be crafting or getting into a really good Eyes of the Great Wolf, right? Because truthfully, this is an incredible necklace for this build before you go the int stacking route. When you just want to focus on stacking power charges to scale the build up to like 5 to 7 million DPS, which is totally fine for majority of the content in the game, by the way. You want to use a Badge of the Brotherhood. You might even want to snag Mistwalker from Assassin, although that is pretty much that's Z DPS, right? You're just doing that. You would just be doing that for cozy and survivability, but it is incredibly cozy. Let me tell you. You zoom around at the speed of lightning with the effective elusive, scaling with your frenzy charges, because just with the base tree and these uniques, and then eventually once you get a +1 up here, you're already looking at like 9 power charges. Throw on, well, +1 power charge is obviously not something you'd just be interested in throwing on. That's going to be a big investment, but yeah, it's important to note that, right? Just off the tree and Malachi's loop, and then your eventual +1 Crown of the Eyes, you're looking at 9 power charges as is. So being able to convert 9 of those into frenzy charges that are staying up permanently, assuming this goddamn pair of boots don't get nerfed, then we're looking at a pretty solid character just with that Chasis alone. Chasis means like your stat line, by the way, in case you guys don't know. But you guys probably knew that, right? You're all pretty smart. Anyways, that's the vid. I love all of you. Take care and have a good night. Oh, and I ordered a pop filter, which should be here tomorrow, so hopefully the sibilance will go away after this video.